Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for another webinar, Meet the Small Business Liaison, presented by the SBA OCIE District Office. I'm thrilled to be your host today. My name is Alex Salas, and I'm a Business Development Specialist for the District Office. First and foremost, I want to express my sincere gratitude to each of you for joining us today. We understand that your time is valuable, and we're committed to making this webinar both informative and engaging. Our aim is to provide you with the valuable insights on how to do business with NAVSEA Corona Division. How can they assist you in achieving your business goals? We understand that every business is unique with its own set of challenges and needs. The connection you make today can provide invaluable in your entrepreneurial endeavors. We encourage you to actively engage in today's session. We ask by asking questions, sharing insights, and collaborating with both our team and special guests. Our mission is to empower small business owners like yourselves to overcome obstacles, seize opportunities, and reach new heights of success. Again, I'd like to extend my gratitude for you joining us today. And that being said, the chat is disabled, so Q&A is open, so your mic would not be working, but you can type your questions in. This webinar is being recorded so that you can always come back and watch it. And that being said, let's move forward. So the webinar is to help those who are in an 8A program and those who are aspiring to be in the 8A program to connect with federal agencies. Now, we understand that it is a challenge to get into federal contracting, and you just don't know who to target and where to go. And that's why we've created this webinar so that we can provide you with agencies on how to do business with them, what services they're looking for, and who's the best point of contact. So in a sense, we are creating a bridge for you and your business to grow. Today's special guest is Ms. Julie Santana-Padilla. She is responsible for advocating, training, reviewing, and monitoring small business contracting goals. She assists the command in locating small businesses that can support NAVSEA's Corona Division's mission and needs. Dr. Santana-Padilla has over 20 years of experience working with small businesses and community partners in the government contracting marketplace in California and Puerto Rico. So that being said, Julie, you want to take over?
Sure, thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Alex and SBA, thank you so much for the opportunity to share information about the Naval Surface Warfare Center Corona Division. As you notice here on the presentation, I will be referring to our agency as the NSWC Corona Division, just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm Julie, I'm the Deputy Director for the Small Business, and I'm going to provide you with an overview about what we do here and what type of products and services we procure. So this is the agenda. We're going to do the overview. I'm going to talk about the small business program's basic requirement and how to do business with us. So let's start with who we are. So the NSWC Corona Division, we fall under the Naval Sea System Command. So that's NAVSEA. Warfare centers. So there are 10 warfare centers. From those 10, we have 8 of them that they're surface, right? That's why we are one of the surface, NSWC. And then we have 2 that are undersea. So those are NUWC. We are around the country. NSWCs, we have Philadelphia, Carter Rock, Dahlgren, Indian Head, Panama City, Port Hueneme, and Crane, and us. And the undersea, we have Keyport and Newport. So the primary role of the NAVSEA warfare centers is to help make naval programs successful, by providing technical advice and solutions to our partners, especially NAVSEA programs, executive offices, the fleet, the Marine Corps, the Office of Naval Research, the Department of Defense, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. We do have scientists, engineers, and technicians that provide technical advice and solution across the entire full spectrum lifecycle of platforms and systems. So now NSWC Corona. So we have served as the Navy's independent assessment agent since 1964. Corona is positioned as the leader in NAVSEA data analytics, utilizing network data environment, data analytics and visualizations, and measurement technology. So here at the base, we have what we call technical departments. So we have 4 of them. Starting with the first one, we have an acquisition and readiness assessment. We call it an AR. So they serve as an agent to ensure control application of systems engineering, risk management, quality, and management principle for development, production, and sustainment of defense systems. Something that I would like to point out is that here in Corona, we do, like I mentioned before, we assist other we call it customers, but that is referring to other agencies. So for example, the acquisition and readiness assessment, some of their customer is NAVSEA headquarters, NAV Air, Coast Guard, the Missile Defense Agency, DLA, which is the Defense Agency, Logistic Agency, NASA, amongst other. The other department that we have is the Range System Engineering Department. So they build instruments and support DoD test and training ranges worldwide. So the department provides system engineering and technical guidance to ranges, commanders, and managers across the Navy and Marine Corps, and serve as a technical agent for operation, maintenance, and engineering of the Navy and Marine Corps tactical training range systems. The other department we have here is the Performance Assessment Department. So they serve as an independent analysis and assessment agent across several warfare areas, including air defense, integrated air and missile defense, surface strike, and cyber. And the last one that we have is Measurement Science and Engineering Department. So they serve as a technical agent for the Navy's metrology and calibration program. So in this role, the department ensures that measurements made on Navy systems or weapons during all phases of the acquisition life cycle, from research through sustainment, are accurate and meet the Navy's needs. So we NSWC Corona, even though we're a Corona Division, we are located in Norco. We have a detachment in Fallbrook and Seal Beach, and we have employees around, let me move here, we have employees around the country and Japan. If you notice here, we do have civilian, we have a little bit of a presence of the military, and then we also have contractors here working at the base. So we are a working capital organization, so we generate our own revenue. So here's some data. Something that you're probably are most interested is what the amount of money or dollars that we awarded on fiscal year 24. So fiscal year 24, we awarded a total of $803 million to businesses. So from those 803 millions, approximately 28% of them, it went to small businesses. We also have other point of entries in partnership with the base. We have educational partnership with different educational organizations like the ones that you see on the screen. Okay, so now let's talk about the small business program, which is the office that I work for. Headquarter, NAVSEA headquarter, they have the Office of Small Business Program, and I included here their webpage because they have great information about how to do business with with NAVSEA, what type of procurement we purchase, and not just only for Corona, but also you can see the information for the other field offices, like what I was mentioning, the other warfare centers. And since you're interested in doing business with the federal government, I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that there's also a web page under the Office of Small Business Program from the Department of Defense, where you can find the same type of office, the small business office, but in other organizations. So that should take you directly to their small business programs. So what is my role as the deputy for small businesses? So our mission is to maximize business opportunities for small businesses. So I assist and support our contract department and customers, program managers, reviewing their market research and their acquisition strategies. I also advocate for the small businesses socioeconomic programs, monitor and evaluate small business goals. I review small business subcontracting plan, and I engage with the industry. So what are the basic requirements? Probably you are all familiar with what are these basic requirements, but I just wanted to go over again. Um, so you need to have an active registration status. I know this sounds very simple and easy to do. However, I can tell that sometimes there are times that a contractor or a business will submit a proposal, and when we look at the SAM registration is expired. So you just want to make sure that your registration is active, and mostly if you are submitting a proposal to the federal government. Review your business size based on the SBA size standard. Um, explore all the SBA congressionally mandated programs, the contracting assistance program, like a small disadvantaged business, the 80 program, the woman-owned veteran program. And I included the links for the requirements for those programs. So how to become procurement ready? Understanding the regulations. Make sure that whoever you're working or targeting, what agency you're targeting, you understand how they do the procurement. Some of the guidance you can find it on the Federal Acquisition Regulations, the FAR, or the DFARs. The DFAR is a supplement to the FAR. In our case, so that we are, a Navy, we also use the NCARs. And again, depending on the type of which agency, they may have a different supplement to the FAR. You will notice that the solicitation will have all the clauses incorporated. Just make sure that you read all of them and you understand what you're committing to. Understand and ensure that you meet any requirement for that specific agency. If you need to, for example, have specific certifications for cybersecurity, that make sure that you have it in place. If you need to access military specifications, make sure that you have the actual certification to access those type of documents, things like that. And also make sure that you understand how to work different government systems that will be used when you have a contract. And one of the example that I included here is the wide area workflow. So this is a very common system that once you get a contract, you may have to submit an invoice, and this is where your invoice will get approved so you can get paid. Though you don't want to get into a contract and then you don't know how to invoice for your services or product. That could create a little bit of a conflict, and it is best just to have the knowledge and be prepared. Understand the agency capabilities and needs. Not all of us buy the same thing or have the same capabilities and needs. So make sure that you do your market research. Understand what exactly is the type of procurement that we do at a specific agency. The best thing that I always recommend to any businesses is diving into the market research. I think that's where you can find most of the questions that you have about the specific agency. There's different websites that you can search all of the awards for that specific agency. So you can see what they procure, if they procure products and services, and how they procure that products and services, because that will help you also in how you want to how to approach the agency. So when you have an opportunity to meet with them, you can provide them with exactly what they're looking for. Market your business and establish relationship with the agency. As I mentioned before, the small business programs, all agencies, they have this type of office within the agency. Locate them, meet with them, present your business with them if you have the opportunity, and follow up with them. It's good that once in a while you reach back and say, hey, this is what's new, or is there inquire about new opportunities or things like that. And also the very important one is the responding to government notice, the sources sought, or request for information. This is something that is interesting enough that not that many businesses responded to the sources sought. Sources sought is the best opportunity for a small business to try to influence the acquisition strategy in how this opportunity is going to look like, if it's going to be set aside for small business or if it's going to be set aside for woman-owned, for HUD-zone 8A. So basically, when the businesses responded to the sources sought, that get evaluated depends of who responded. So if there's not more than one business under one of those category, then the contracting officer will determine that there's not a reasonable expectation that a small business or a woman-owned is going to submit a proposal for the actual solicitation. So then they can determine that I'm just going to post it as the unrestricted. And the other case is that if we have two small businesses or two woman-owned, so then the contracting officer can decide to set aside um, for that specific category. Okay, so now I brought here the fiscal year 24, the top 20 NAICS code. The NAICS is the North American Industry Classification Systems codes that you most likely you're familiar with it because you need it for your SAM registration. We procured engineering services. That's our top one. We have security system, professional services. We have computer services and products. We have facility support, construction, software, security guard, and patrol services and all of that. Things to consider about this list. And here in Corona, so we have, I would call it like two side of the contracts. One is that we support those technical codes that I mentioned before, the 4 technical codes, and we support their acquisition of their specific projects, right? So we manage those contracts in here, but also we manage contracts from other customers. As I mentioned, we have as a customer NAVSEA headquarter, the Coast Guard, NAVAIR, um, the Marines Corps. So not necessarily everything that you may see in the website when you do market research about contract awards, the place of performance is not necessarily here. So when you do your market research, yes, we may procure security guards and patrol services, but maybe this is for headquarters or for, for another agency. So just please be aware that when you're doing your market research, also look at the place of performance, just so you can determine if you have the capabilities to support that specific contract. Another thing that I want to point out about this, the NAICS code, is that when you do your market research, also it will help you to identify if the NAICS that you are using is the same NAICS that the government, or in our case, our agency, is using for your services. So try to look at a little bit more broad, not just the NAICS itself. Once you identify like, okay, this is the NAICS that they're using for my services, then you can determine, it will help you for your market research and your marketing with a specific agency. I also included here the product service codes. So this is really important. I think it's as important as the NAICS code. Probably out there in the industry, you may be more familiar with the NAICS code, but we utilize both. And the reason that I am bringing this to your attention as well is because maybe, just to give you an example, maybe there's a requirement for some type of training services. And maybe in our solicitation, we may put it under the NAICS of engineering services, but the PSC code is going to be totally different. It could be U008, which is educational. So make sure that you look at the PSC code, learn what are those codes that the government is using for your products and services. So when you do your research, you can get better results. It's more accurate. Where do we post our opportunities? Okay, so the main website is sam.gov. You can find some opportunities there and the system for award management. However, if you, for anything that is engineering services, which is the 541330 NAICS code, that was my first NAICS that I had in the slide, everything is going to go through Seaport. Seaport is our contracting vehicle for anything that is engineering services. And how do you can get in Seaport? So this is a solicitation that is open. Sometimes it's between the 2 or 3 year time frame. So when you see that opportunity, and if you provide, those services, I recommend that you respond to that opportunity so you can get into Seaport. That's the way that you will be able to see any sources sought for engineering services or solicitations. Any opportunity is going to be through Seaport Next Generation. Okay, I brought this, also I put this in the slide as well, just to bring the different type of procurement. So I did mention about getting familiar with the federal acquisition regulation and get to know how the specific agency procure. So one of the things that y- you see on the far is that there's different acquisition process depend on the value of the contract, right? So we have the micro purchasing, those are up to the 10K. And if it's the micro purchasing, it's going to be with a credit card. Then you have the simplified acquisition procedures, those are up to the 250K. And there's some exceptions there. And then over the 250K, then you have the competitive ones. So for the small contracts, I call it small contract, which is below the simplified acquisition threshold. I recommend for you to look at what are the different contracting vehicle that the agency can use. For us, one of the contracting vehicles that we use is NAVSEA, which is the one that you see on the slide. It's a solution for enterprise-wide procurement. So anything IT related products that will go through NAVSEA. Another one that we utilize as well is GSA schedules. When our contracting department do market research to identify potential businesses, they may look into GSA schedule, and also they may look into NAVSEA as well. And other than that, it will be searching on the SBA DSB, Dynamic Small Business Search. It's a website from SBA, where, if I'm not mistaken, Alice can correct me, but once you get registered on SAM, automatically some information will be populated in that web page, but you still need to go there and complete the rest of the profile. If your profile is incomplete, the most likely you can be overlooked when our contract department is doing research. Okay. So where you can find like our future opportunities. So we do have the long range acquisition estimate. So that's our procurement forecast, or anything that we are planning to procure. This is mostly large contracts, and this is not the ones that I was talking about the simplified acquisitions. But this information is available, is the NAVSEA website, the NAVSEA headquarter website. They do have a link, and it's a long range acquisition estimate. You can go there and download an Excel document, which is what you're looking at in this slide. I also added the link. And not the information just for us, but also you can see everything under NAVSEA for other field offices. And then marketing with us, we develop a capability statement. Make sure that when you develop your capability statement, you have done your market research so you can tailor that capability statement for that specific agency. As much information, how can I say, like, that aligns to that specific agency, more productive that document will be, and also the presentation will be. I do hold capability briefings. Those are, just an opportunities for you to meet with me and present, what type of products and services you provide and how those aligns with our base. And so if you get that opportunity, I would just say that just make sure that you do your homework before, submitting your capability statement and requesting a capability briefing. There's some resources out there that can assist you with that. I know SBA can assist you probably through the 8A program. There's the SBDCs as well, and also the Apex accelerators. And I think that will bring me up to the end of the presentations. I just want to provide you an overview and about what we do here, what type of procurement we have here. On the first slide is my email, my contact information. If you have any question or follow-up that you would like to do directly with me, please feel free to send me an email, and then I will hand it back to Alex for any questions that they may have. Alex, you are on mute.
Okay, can you see my screen now? I apologize for that. Okay. Julie, thank you so much for all that information. I think you covered a lot of my questions as far as where to go, websites wise, being prepared, best practices in a sense. Is there any opportunity for manufacturing with NAVSEA?
Yes, and the manufacturing, I would say mostly machine shops. We do procure parts, and also we procure some type of yeah, I would say parts mostly, and specific products that are needed for our projects here at our technical codes. Mostly the measurement and science, that code, they do deal with a lot of calibration and testing, things like that, and they procure the most, from machine shops. So yes, there are opportunities. Something that I would just recommend is that make sure that you meet any requirements in terms of like having the certifications that you need to either access specific drawings or military specs, but also in terms of cybersecurity as well, since, any contract with the federal government, we want to make sure that everybody's covered.
Okay, great. So how can small business stay up to date with any upcoming procurement events that NAVSEA is having? Do you have any vendor days coming up?
So here at Corona, we normally host an industry day. It's my understanding we haven't had one in a couple of years, but we're trying to host one this year. As soon as we have a date, I will communicate with our community partners, like the small business administrations, and so they can share, help spreading the word about the event. But also, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to the NAVSEA website,
Mhm.
they have information about outreach events as well.
Okay, great. Just one more thing, Julie. What are most common challenges faced by the new vendors when working with NAVSEA, and how can they be mitigated?
So, so
I know you
probably is
covered, yeah, you covered a few already with the whole being up to date on the SAM uh, profile and possibly DSBS as well. What are some other ones?
so well, in terms when it's like participating of opportunities, I would say that understanding the solicitation, how to respond. If they will have instructions in the solicitation how to respond. Read the instructions, make sure that you meet the requirements. If they say on limit of pages is four pages, they will specify what areas you have to respond to. Like you have to, from the statement of work, which is one of the section of the solicitation, they may say, please, your like focus your response on task 2 and task 3. So make sure that you provide the information that they're looking for. You follow the format, and then you have all those. The SAM is active. Your certifications are active as well in terms of the small business programs as well.
Okay, great. I believe we have one question Sandra, what's that question we have?
Yes, so there was a question here in the chat that said, trying to understand DIB's platform and attaining technical documents like Blueprint has been a little bit of a challenge for me. Do you have any tips? This person is in the process of getting the certification for access to technical docs.
Okay, so DIPS is for the Defense Logistic Agency. So that's the website for DLA. Now the certification is the JCP, the Joint Certification Program. I know there's a process out there. There's some instructions, and I know the Apex Accelerator can assist you and guide you if you have any issues in the process.
Julie, what are the typical timelines for a procurement process within NAVSEA?
Oh, procurement process. When you say procurement processes, for us to procure something or for like an award?
Like an award. I know you talked about the micro purchasing. So what do you feel
Okay.
like is a good range of timeline would that be?
So for the small contracts, it turned to be faster,
Mm,
right? I cannot tell you, exactly what it is, but I can just put a guess. It is maybe like a month or two. Like
okay,
it's not too long for them to complete the acquisition. I would say for large contract, it could be, it depends how
right.
complex and how
Six to
large.
9 months or larger. Yeah, longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typical time contracts for the government is 6 to 9 months. So that's why it's important to know being procurement ready to meet the needs of the government, but also, keep your business flowing and going while
Yes.
these contracts are in the process of moving along. So just keep that in mind. That's why I'm glad that we talked a little more about micro purchasing, about how that timeline is a little smaller than compared to the bigger contracts. So in order to, in a sense, get to that level, and because I know this is just one market for these small businesses, and there's opportunity, of course, but how to identify these opportunities and which amounts too.
Hmm.
Well, I think that's all the questions we have, Julie. I want to say thank you for everyone for joining us today. I want to thank our special guest, Julie, for participating and being our guest. And I have provided her contact information, her email below. That's the best way to contact her. And again, any procurement events that do happen, SBA will provide that information. I'm currently at a procurement event with Orange County Procurement here at the Anaheim Convention Center, with over 1,700 people have registered for this event. So great opportunities locally and at every level of government. So again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Julie, and look forward to having you again on the next series.
Okay. No, thank you so much to SBA and everyone for attending, and I hope everybody has a good day.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye.